Okay, so we've got some choices here. Next pilot's got the best level 1 stats. Justicar has the most relevant possible ability. We don't know if it's relevant or not. Stonefist Giant levels up best at the next level. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the pilot. It feels like it's the safest play. It puts on a little bit of pressure, and it levels up fine. So definitely just leveling up things that are okay isn't bad. I could play the aggressive route and Cinderfest Brawler or Lightning Ram this turn. That's very aggressive, but it's an easy 16 damage. Okay, my opponent seems to have a very slow deck. This creature gets very good in the late game. How does Cinderfist Brawler level? That's not bad. So we've got a bunch of creatures that level pretty well. I think I'm going to hedge my bets. I think I'm going to just play 2 creatures and hope to get some damage in rather than get the sure damage in. Okay, so yeah, I've got Windcaller Shaman, so that worked out okay. I would have gotten some more damage in, but my opponent would probably be able to block this turn. So I feel like I just postponed the damage in exchange for leveling up the Bruiser, which is fine. Seems perfectly reasonable. So I'm going to probably play Shaman. Question is Zephyr Mage or Giant. I'd like to play the Giant just because it levels up better than the Zephyr Mage. One problem is the Zephyr Mage is level gated, by which I mean it can only target level 1 creatures at level 1 and so on. So it's definitely... Ooh, my opponent did a very good play here. Jetpack... No, not Jetpack. I think it was just given a temporarily... Yeah, it was given temporary mobility. Okay, it deals 3 damage, so it's the spell that lets it move and deal damage, although it doesn't lose Defender. So that's unfortunate, and that seems like a decent combo in this deck, but... So, sad that I lost my Brawler. Okay, so I'm going to play the Giant here. Yeah, it'll trade okay. And the Shaman here because it can threaten to trade. I'm going to move the Brawler just further out of the way. Oh wait, no. Never mind, I don't want that. I forgot it can only move adjacent to Windcaller Shaman, which I don't want it to because otherwise the Glacial Colossus would kill it. Alright, so we can get the Titan at level 1. Since my opponent does seem to really be playing for the long game, I think that's fine. I think it's perfectly reasonable to try and level that up. I'll probably do the same for the Sentry. Though the War Charger does get better than I remembered. I think that may have been improved with the patch, but I think Sentry and Titan both level better. That armor is maybe more useful than that mobility. Okay, so this movement theme is a common thing for the opponent. Okay, it's got that same deals damage when it moves effect. So it's definitely a sub-theme my opponent's got. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw something in front of it just to get rid of that ability, because that ability is obnoxious. All right, so hopefully my opponent cannot kill the Titan because that Rift Lasher's ability can be a bit scary. Alright, probably going to keep leveling the Titan and the Sentry. They're very good creatures. The Brawler would be pretty decent, but I think there's not that much difference between the 28 and the 20 as there is between the 9 and the 15 here. So I think we're better off just making the best creatures we can. Similarly, the Solforge Titan is going to get pretty darn good. So I can throw my 2 armor creatures over here. Okay, so my opponent is getting in for the Riftlasher. That's unfortunate. Okay, so I need to play pretty reactively here. So I'm gonna Solforge here. Nope. Solforge here because it blocks it eats the damage pretty well. And Forge Plate there. So Cryomancer's okay. No matter what, I'm probably going to play this Bruiser. Bruiser works very well with the armor in particular. So we'll see, but that seems likely. My opponent could deal 7 damage this turn between that ability and the Darkshaper Savant. Alright, so being able to shrink my armored guys is unfortunate for me, to say the least. So I could do Bruiser plus Heavy Artillery to throw in front of the Savant, which would definitely would be very likely to kill it. Okay, my opponent did a pretty good combo to kill if he has a thing to trigger the Darkshaper Savant, which one assumes that he or she has. It is not unlikely, despite what the name suggests. Okay, so that is not a surprise. Well, we're still doing okay on damage. My opponent's deck is slow enough that despite the Savant, I feel like we're building up better creatures for the late game. Okay. I think I'm going to try and force my opponent's creature to move. And I will just make my creature bigger. Alright, dealing that 9 damage is pretty nice. Bruiser's good here. Actually, the Magma Hound is probably quite good here because it can probably just pick off that Colossus that isn't amazing, but it's, you know, dealing 3 damage here and there, and whenever my opponent wants, he or she can stop moving it in order to deal it 6 damage as well. So that, you know, more or less free 9 damage to any of the 3 lanes is a decent threat that I'd love to get off the table. This is going to be a +4, yeah. So it's 8-11, or you can share its stats around. I can also use the Magma Hound to ping the Darkshaper Savant if I need a little bit more damage over there. Okay, so my opponent's probably going to shrink the Forge Plate Sentry. Ouch. Double Darkshaper Savant is pretty good for my opponent. Okay, so at least here we can okay, so we've got 1 here, 1 damage here. So we can use the Magma Hound in front to kill that. Which I think is probably best. Which means I get a free 2 damage to anything. Which I will do to the Riftlasher, because I'm going to throw the Bruiser in front of it, so that means that it will be dead to the Bruiser. So, do I want the Bruiser buff to itself or to the Cryomancer? This will keep the Cryomancer alive a bit later, but I think the Bruiser is just more important. it makes it less likely that my opponent can remove it. For example, that level 2 shock my opponent has, my level 2 spark won't be able to finish it off. And this does clear up the middle lane for the Nexus pilot, thankfully. Alright, so we're leveling nicely towards level 3, at which point we'll have 2 max level robots, which in theory should be good, although the Savants will be at least partial counter against it, because Savants being able to shrink robots is a good way to get around the armor. Could also do something like Stonefist Giant and Lightning Brand to get in that extra 9 damage, but that feels a lot more aggressive than I really need to be going for at this moment. Okay. Opponent's aggressively moving the Rift Lasher. That's going to get to do 5 damage, but we'll be able to throw a Giant in front of it this coming up turn, and that should be okay. Feels like it's kind of at best a 1-for-1, since we'll probably be able to eat the creature. Okay, so we can't just eat the creature. Could if we Giant and Lightning Sparked. I'm not sure it's worth it, though. Definitely going to Giant there, though. Actually, this way there will be no empty lanes unless my opponent manages to clear one. So I think I'm going to leave the Rift Lasher alive and plan on killing it more naturally than throwing a spark at it. I'd rather just develop my board because it's not like I'm behind in the current board state. Okay, Cinderfist Brawler. Not only is it good at dealing damage, I can also throw it in front of anything to block and take it out defensively. Oh wow, I forgot how much damage that enchantment does. So perhaps that wasn't best, but hopefully we can take the 5 damage and remedy that this turn. Maybe throw a Stonefist Giant out or a War Charger, because they both level up well. 9-12 versus, oops, not that, versus 9-13. Maybe the War Charger, just because the mobility may help to get damage in later. Yeah, we'll see. Could also hold off on the Brawler, just because, like I said, it doesn't level up that well to throw out both. Giant could pick off the Rift Lasher, and the War Charger could take out the Bruiser and survive. However, obviously it depends on what my opponent plays this turn. The enchantment that my opponent has here is, I believe, a rare, so it's impressive that my opponent has 2 of them in his or her deck. But alright, so this is using the direct damage to finish off the next pilot after Rift Lasher attack. Oh wow, did the damage to the Giant. So was willing to take 10 damage from the pilot. That is surprising to me. Glacial Colossus is going to take some damage. However, its body won't matter unless my opponent has a jetpack. I think I'm going to do the play that I was thinking about, which is War Charger for Bruiser, Stonefist Giant for Rift Lasher. Part of the reason I was liking that is that War Charger can then move in front of Colossus to finish it off, just in case there is a jetpack next turn. However, I'm not sure that's going to be required. We shall see. Alright, Bruiser Giant's not bad. A nice double level 3 hand is generally a nice thing to see. If you hear noise in the background, my 2 cats are chasing a cricket of some kind, so they're being brave hunters and huntresses. Okay, so I probably will trade the War Charger with the Glacial Colossus just in case there is a jetpack in my opponent's deck. I feel like I'm not too afraid of this lane. Okay. So probably the giant in front of the necrotic worm. Then I can bruiser and where the giant is over there. Yeah, my opponent just taking 10 damage well, on each of our turns with the from the Nexus pilot is kind of scary, or kind of surprising rather. Okay, +8. I think I'm actually gonna make this a 10-10. I like my opponent is gonna need to block that eventually because it's doing damage very quickly. Okay, this game is feeling very out of control for my opponent, and this Titan only makes it worse. I'm definitely going to Titan in front of the Rift Lasher unless something changes. I was going to say my opponent's probably going to kill this, but okay, so. Titan won't get to attack before the Rift Lasher anyway. I'm going to throw the Titan here. The Rift Lasher will likely just die to it if it cannot be given movement. So I am going to deal 30 damage this turn. Nothing can increase that, so I'm just going to use Magma Hands. I don't want to improve that Death Seeker, so I'm putting it on the other side. Alright, we got a first win reward. Alright, got some silver. Some more silver. Cool. I'll be back for the next game.